Welcome to Be Your Own Motivation, your podcast about fitness, health, and lifestyle. Today's guest, Terra Jackson.
All right, welcome back to Be Your Own Motivation, the podcast about health, fitness, and lifestyle. And today I am alone as a host, but I will have another guest, and I will welcome her with a little bit longer introduce, because she is somehow a little bit my idol, my role model in the sport for a longer time. And always was my dream partner. Probably we ever will do that. We don't know yet. And so you're here. I love her. And despite she broke a little bit my heart back in 2024, my first Elite World Championships at DECA, I was looking forward to race with her in the fit race. Then she decided, nah, I'm not doing that. And then we made it that I shortly could enter the mile race, and then we still could share the floor for one time, which was happy for me. Even I just saw her from the back, obviously. And saying that, she has multiple world champion title in DECA, from DECA Fit to DECA Strong, from 22 and until 24. And she has also multiple races done in Elite Hyrox, first time World Championships 22 as well, where she placed 6th in the single race. And then again in the US Championships 2023, 6th. And then in European, 7th. In this year's or last year's, this year's US Championship. In single, 8th place, and in doubles, 5th place. So she's well known. If you don't know her, check her out straight after this. And she has done 8 years of OCR, if the internet didn't lie to me. And also 20 podiums in OCR. And then a little add-on, which Google said me, she's a very analytic athlete. She's precise in her training based on data. So welcome to the show, Terra Jackson. And probably she can say me if this is all right or if this is not.
All sounds great.
All right. So welcome. So you just came from a run this morning. And as usually, we will talk a little bit about your background story in the sport. Also, if there was already anything happening in health-based. Then later on, we will go how you jumped into the gym because you had another sport prior, and how did it come that you started lifting weights? And then your recent health issue in 2024, 25. And what this did to your health. And then, we will later on go, what's your next race? I know it's next weekend. And what is going on for the future. So we will start with your background of sport and health. Just take us a little bit back to a little Terra, a little young Terra. What have you done in firsthand in sports?
So I've been playing sports since I was like 5. So I got into a lot of team sports as a kid. And then I had gained actually a lot of weight after my dad passed away. And I'd gotten up to like 180 pounds in 6th grade, which I'm not sure if most of your listeners are like European, but you're
it's
like
mixed. It's UK, US, and Europe. It's mixed.
So you're like maybe like 12 in like the 6th grade. So I began to get a physical because for our middle school sports, you have to like show that you're able to do sports and like don't have any health issues. So I was like 180 pounds at like 12 years old. But I was still like active. I played basketball and baseball and stuff like that. So after that physical, I feel like it was like a big wake up call. But I was so young that I didn't really know how to deal with it. So that kind of is where I know I talk a lot about it on my page about having eating disorders throughout my whole running career, but I wanted to do track in the fall. So between the summer of my 6th grade year and the spring of my 7th grade year, I lost like almost 80 pounds through obviously not the most like healthful way. Because I feel like there wasn't a lot of, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, so there's not like a lot of like, we didn't use internet as much as we do now. Like there wasn't a lot of information out there, and people really didn't talk about it. Like people who were thin, they were just thin, and people who were fat, they were just fat. And feel like there wasn't as much like direction, like how do I get healthy? And everything at the time was Weight Watchers was really big. Like I think Body Pump was coming in, like the step aerobics classes and stuff like that were really big. So fitness was not really like had not taken off like the fitness we know of today. So I think as a kid I was just like, oh well, you know, if I like the only thing in my mind, well, if you don't eat, then you'll lose weight. And obviously that worked. So I you know, started my unhealthy eating patterns, and then when I found running, I feel like the way that I used my eating disorder kind of like shifted more into like I can eat if I run. So it changed to more like just like, oh, you can eat now, but like you have to earn the right.
You have to earn the food a little bit, like earn to eat more. Like
So and then I dealt with that. Like I ran through high school and college, and kind of like still was struggling, and my performance showed it. Like I'd go through like periods where I'd be like, okay, pretty good. And then like I would start like progressing in my sport. And then I'd be like, oh, well, if I just lost 5 pounds, then I'd be like, I'd be better. And to a point, like people think that, oh, like, I don't think people who have never went through it understand that there is a small period between like when you start eating less and lose weight that your performance does kind of see an increase. Like you do feel like lighter and faster. It's just a problem. It has a limit. So once you get to a point like, you know, okay, well, like I'm lighter and faster, but I'm not fueling, then your body is like can't recover, can't hit the hard workout. So it's like, oh, you're like PR, and then it's like and you fall off. And then it takes months and sometimes years to get back to where you were, not just like mentally and physically, emotionally, but like to get back to those times that you were running. I know in college, I ran my PR on the track my sophomore year and then didn't run that fast again until I was almost 30. So I spent like almost a decade like stuck in like the same kind of time domain that I'd been running. And then it wasn't until like I fixed kind of my relationship with food and fueling that I was able to, you know, PR again, and have since like PR'd every distance since college.
I think it's a typical way of problem with the nutrition. If you have it at a very young age, if you were like, even if you were just a little bit overweighted, like I myself can relate to it. I was like around 15. I suddenly, you know, I had to stop sport due to school is more important. So I got made stop sport. I didn't want to actually, but yeah, it's just you're a kid. You listen to what the adults tell you is right and you do it. And then I gained like 10 kg in less than a year. And then, like kids are like, oh, you don't look like you should. And I also started, I can't say I have such a long-term problem, but I also haven't had it because of sport, because I didn't do sport for a decade then. But for me also, I did it in a very unhealthy way. Like you said, just like eat less, eat a lot of fruits instead of normal normal meals and stuff like that. So I would lose my nearly all my 10 kg back then, and then you feel better, right? And that's how it starts. And then but you were not in a healthy way doing it, and then that comes later on back in life, right? Like how it takes some time to really understand what is healthy for me and how much and all that stuff. And I went a little bit through it, but not in relation to sport in firsthand. So that's like a little bit different. And I think that's so typical that you get then the mindset of, oh yeah, now I'm doing sport, so I can eat because I did a run from 1 hour today, so I can eat more. Yeah, so I can totally relate to that because in the very beginning, I had that also a little bit, and I hear it so much from clients. So it's like really kind of a typical thing, and I think even still more in female people than in male. But it's so shocking sometimes how many people were going down that road, right? Like if I follow like a lot of hybrid athletes right now, obviously, and it's shocking how many right now also on socials. Like I got to know you as well because you are very open about it, and that's a good thing. But it's very shocking recently, like in the last 6 months, how many of the elite athletes, right, they suffered earlier, they suffered now, probably during Hyrox, that they were not eating enough, because they want to look a certain way, or they thought less weight, going faster, and so the typical stuff.
Well, it's hard too because I know you said like you didn't do sports through school, and I don't know, like it's a lot different here. Like there's a lot of like pressure to do well in sports from like a very young age because that's how a lot of people like pay for college and like but like I've always kind of been like not like a small person. So anytime that I'd be like my weight would be down or like I would lose weight, like I'd get so much like encouragement from like coaches and people like, oh, you look great, look fit, like, but they didn't know that like I wasn't eating. So I feel like the most like praise through my eating disorder, like, oh, you look so awesome right now, you're performing so well. So like having that external like factor that's like telling you, oh, like you're still doing good, like even though like what you're doing is wrong, like you're getting a lot of positive feedback from it. So, and I think it feeds into it even more that you need to keep doing it because you're getting all these people telling you, oh, you look great, you're fit, you look so good right now, like and I think that's pretty common for a lot of female athletes, like when they were at their worst health wise, like people are telling them that they look fit. So they're not really grasping like how unhealthy they actually are because everybody else is telling them how good they're doing. So I feel like it keeps perpetuating that the eating disorder culture. I mean, you see it even at the elite level. Like I know that I think the Nike coach, he got like, I don't remember what his name was now. It's like drawing a blank, but he would do that like psychological stuff to his I don't know if he did it to the male athletes, but definitely the female athletes. Like if they have a bad workout, they'd be like, you're looking heavy or have you put on weight? Like, and then when they're running really well, they're like, oh, you look so fit. You look so lean. Like, and, like reinforcing that idea that you have to be like a certain size to perform like at your best. And when you hear it from someone who's like above you, like a coach or a mentor or whatever, it carries that kind of weight that is like so hard to like ignore. So even if you have good body positivity and like you're confident in yourself, I feel like even then if you have a coach that's telling you like, oh, well, if you just lost like 5 pounds, like it could be better for your performance. And I feel like sometimes it gets misconstrued because there are like times that I have clients that they run and they should lose weight, like from actually like an athletic standpoint, like they are 10 to 15 pounds overweight, they are getting chronically injured with like lower limb stuff because they're carrying a lot of extra weight. So I think there's also a level of honesty with yourself that you have to have like, what am I losing this weight for? Am I losing this weight because like I actually think that it's going to help my performance, or I have this like arbitrary goal that I think that, you know, if you're running a marathon, you shouldn't be over 130 pounds. Cause like that kind of like thinking is dangerous. But at the same time, like there are instances where people do need to like look in within themselves and be like, hey, like I actually do need to lose like weight because I do keep getting injured. But you don't see that. That's not really the elite athlete, though. Like, there's nobody that's running on the elite stage right now that, like, the weight is what's impacting their performance. Like, they're probably better served to carry a few extra pounds of hydration and fuel and whatever they're carrying with them than they are if they lost, like, 5-10 pounds versus someone, they're running a marathon, they're, like, you know, they're 10 or 15 pounds overweight, like actually overweight.
Yeah.
It would, and most of that is body fat, not like the people
not
who
muscles.
are
Yeah.
like, oh, they're trying to lose muscle. Like, no, these people. So I think it's important to distinguish too that sometimes weight loss can be an important variable in increasing performance, but only if it's not at the expense of your fueling and your actual performance, because you're not going to perform well if you're not fueled well.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I can like it is those two ways like you just describe it, because like for example when I was that young and I was losing their weight, you get the compliments. Even I was not in sport, you get the compliments from the people, so you think you're right. And my weight loss, how I lost my weight was definitely not right, but I didn't know it better, right? So nobody knew how to do it at that age, and also not in my parents or whatever. And so nobody said me I'm doing something wrong. So, but you get the compliments. And then later, when I was already changing my job to personal trainer, the same as well. So I have like a metabolic disease, which is really from my ovarian. So it's really you have to really know how to eat to not have those weight explosion. They can happen just right now within a month, and then you gain a lot of weight if something is a little bit off. So it's really hard to understand it also because again, doctors on that side, they would just give you medication, which I usually don't want to take, and I try to find another way then. And then again, you sometimes I would have that weight gain, especially after infects like COVID or something. Like you know, you can't do that much sport then in the beginning, and then the balance is a little bit off in my body. And also like from hormone standards, the balance goes very, very fast off. And then you gained that weight. Nobody's saying obviously anything because it's not like crazy overweight, but you obviously you see it, right? Or the people see it, and then you're losing the weight, and then they come back to, oh yeah, now you look better again. Or for example, when I'm dealing with my post-concussion syndrome, I have sometimes times where I can't really good eat anymore because I cannot swallow, because there's like, it feels like I have like a golf ball in my throat and I can barely swallow. So and if I try to force it, I get sick and I just vomit, you know. And so I had that a lot prior, for example, last World Championships now in December, and I came in the arena and even a male person, I've never had that, like I know now for a longer time, came to me, oh, you look like you lost weight, but it was not on purpose. It was not any good at all. I just couldn't eat enough anymore, right? And it was enough to go through the first 2 days, and then it broke a little bit off because just like I couldn't eat. And then after performance, I have always trouble if I really go in that red zone to eat afterwards. It takes me several hours to be able to eat. So that's where I can relate. Like you get the compliment, oh, you lost weight. Well, I didn't even want to. This was definitely this time not on purpose, and it was not good for me. But yeah, it's like still you got that compliment. Okay, you must look better now. So it's still, you know, this mix. Then okay, why does this person say it? So probably this person thought I was too big before, to do a good performance. Like it's still, you're still fighting, even though these days I'm just caring about how I feel, how my body feels when I do sport, how it all feels. I usually don't give it, but this slight thought comes in. Okay, but why did that person say it? Like it's not that I lost 20 kg, right? Like it. And so, yeah, therefore I can relate. And I think if you have ever had to struggle with yourself, I'm too big, I'm not feeling good, I don't look like the others. It's like, I always compare it a little bit with like when you were into alcoholism or something. Some pieces stay probably for the whole life. So some of those thoughts probably will never disappear, even they get less and less and they get less loud. They are somewhere far in the back at some point, like it is with me right now. If someone says you're too fat, well, okay, that's your opinion, right? So
Yeah.
I don't throw myself down for it. But yeah, in the back of the head, very, very, very small, very low volume, this voice is like, why does this person say it to me, right? Like it's still there somehow. Yeah.
And I feel like people don't like always realize like the weight of their words. Like I think people think, oh, they're just giving you a compliment, but they don't like understand. Like I think it's always like not a great practice to like comment on people's weight unless you know them. Like obviously I'm very close with my clients. I know that if their goal is that they're trying to lose weight,
yeah, sure.
like I want to reaffirm like, that they're going in the right direction, but to like not really know somebody and like to comment on their size or their weight. I just don't think it's like a good practice because you don't know what they've done to get to that weight. You don't know if they haven't ate in like 2 days just so that they could lose a few pounds. And I think like there's a little bit of that still in Hyrox, like where I think it's better than like running because you do need like level of muscle. But I've definitely seen a lot of like, I think because I've been in it for so long, like I see like little hints of like eating disorder behavior. Like obviously I'm not going to mention their name, but there's like an elite athlete that's talking about how they need to lose 10 kg before like the next race, and they're going in 3 weeks. They're going to lose 10 kg before they race. Like that's a lot of weight. Like that's a lot of weight.
It's crazy,
like,
a lot of weight. Yeah, that's not like something you can do in 2 or 3 weeks. And if you do, holy shit.
it's not good. You're like losing fluids. You're losing probably food volume. Like it's not like going to be a helpful way to lose weight. So like I actively almost pull against these types of people because what's going to happen is if they do lose 10 kilograms and then they race and then they do well, they're like, see, it's because I lost 10 kilograms. Like, no, it's not really that you lost 10 kilograms. It's that you like trained really hard and you did all this other stuff in the background that, that helped you be successful. But like focusing in on just the weight, I think is like dangerous, especially as, like younger people start to get into Hyrox and, they're looking to people for, someone to look up to and like role models, like to have that kind of conversation online, I feel like is very irresponsible. Like you're like a leader for our community, and to like perpetuate like eating disorder culture, in my opinion, is like super irresponsible. There's definitely ways you can go about like talking about how like when weight loss is appropriate. Like I'm a big proponent that even if you need to lose weight, like you should never do it while you're training for a race.
Yeah,
Because if
not in
you're
the leading, not in the lead up. Yeah.
yeah, or just at all. Like if you're gonna have, so if I'm gonna race a race in 12 weeks, like my primary goal is performance for the race. So why would I put myself in a calorie deficit when my primary goal is performance?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna go into an off season and you need to lose 10 or 15 pounds for performance, then you can shift your focus to like, okay, well, these primary workouts that I'm doing, like it's okay if I'm a little tired. Like my goals right now are not aligned with performance. They're aligned with weight loss. I can dial my intensity back so that I'm more safe. So I'm not pushing myself super hard while I'm in a deficit. So I think periodizing your program, if that's something that you want to achieve, is fine. But like to be like, oh, I'm going to lose weight 3 weeks before a Hyrox and that's going to make me faster. Like it might for the short term. Like I said, there's going to be a level where it's like, okay, you'll see some upticks in performance as you lose weight, but eventually that kind of behavior is going to send you like down the wrong path, and it could take you months, if not years, to recover from that.
Yeah, exactly. So if there is a little bit weight, you think if you lose it, you're better performing. You should never do it in a lead up in a race. Not the 3 months before, like maximum like 5-6 months before you can a little bit, but also not too crazy. And yeah, right, in the off season, after your main season, if your first focus is okay, I want to lose a little bit weight, so you take the workouts also like a little bit easier usually, typically. So that's the right moment to do it, but not during the season, not between races. Again, not on purpose. It happened to me last year, but it was not on purpose. It was just like due to disease and sickness. But I would never have chosen it to do it like this, even though it was not too crazy for the performance, but it could have been that it would have destroyed my whole performance, but just because I just was not able to. So yeah, 100%. And also I totally agree on all terms of role model. And I think it is a little bit in Hyrox, everybody races in bra and super short shorts, and you see them and you think I must look like them, like that shredded, that skinny, that whatever. So I think for some female athletes it will do something, and I think also for male in this sport a little bit. I have the feeling like everybody's racing with shirt off, right? And they have their six packs and whatever. And I can just when I did my first Hyrox race, obviously didn't know what I'm doing there. No preparation, no nothing. Never done something like this. Never done OCR, nothing. And I was standing there, and that was like in the very beginning. You had a lot of CrossFit people in there, right? And they were like muscles, and I have trouble to build up muscles, and they were all like only in the bra already, and I stand on the start line, and I was just looking around. I wanted to disappear. I was just like, I'm so wrong here. What am I doing here? But then I ended up, I was fifth overall, and I was just like, what is this? And with that, so that's now 7 years ago. With that, I myself realized so much about, okay, people look so much fitter than me, but it's not necessarily fitter for this sport. So I really, in the first 2 years, I understood so much more, even though I had already all my education in sport and everything. But due to this kind of race, I understood so much more about the body, and also some educations I had. Like I had a core education where you really do 2 days, several hours of plank, of everything around the core, right? We had one person also there. Like I would never go like this also in an education. I don't know how people, but yeah, people are all different, right? They come from different places. So this girl was always in a bra. She had a crazy six pack, right? And this is already like nearly 10 years ago now. And she was the worst in all the core exercises. And that opened my eyes so much. I thought, like, how can she have these crazy muscles there, but they are not functional? They don't work really. So it's just for the view.
There's bikini, like people who do, I have friends that do like,
the bikini bodybuilding.
Yeah. And like their aerobic system is like nothing, because they don't train to condition, they train to look good. And I mean, obviously, like, good on them, because that is not something I could do. Like I have a friend that does it, and it's basically like you're in like food jail. Just like eating a bunch of like chicken and broccoli and rice like a million times a day. And it's a different level of it's a different sport. So I mean, it has its own like merit. But I feel like it's hard not to look at people and be like, oh, they look so fit that like I want to look like them, even if you're performing better. But I think that from my first Hyrox to like now, it's kind of cool, because I feel like when I went to the first one, everybody was like ripped. Like you look around, everybody like rip six pack, like, and you're like, oh man. But now, I mean, I feel like I see a lot of like normal looking people.
Yeah.
I see like all kinds of different people, which is great. Like, I mean, I think that Hyrox is trying to like create a fitness movement, and a fitness movement is not just a bunch of elite people like with six packs. I mean, it's everybody. So, I mean, I've seen, everybody from the elites to people who are taking like over 3 hours, which I think is super cool. And in its own merit, like just as hard, like the amount of grit it takes to probably stay out there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, incredible. I would probably quit. I don't know if I could do it. But it's cool because it shows that, you don't have to look a certain way to do a Hyrox or to run a marathon or to do any of these things. You just have to do it. You have to get out there. You have to put in the work and not worry about so much your aesthetic. Your body, over the years, I've told like my clients that are training for like events or whatever, if you fuel yourself and train really hard, your body knows what to do. So whatever your body looks like when it's eating enough and exercising really hard, if whatever it looks like there, that's your optimal body for your race. Like, don't try to be looking like somebody else. They don't run the women who are running a 2:16 marathon, they don't run a 2:16 marathon because they look like that. They run a 2:16 marathon because they have talent. They train really hard, like it's just like all the things. It's not because they look a certain way. It's because they're built to run marathons and they work their ass off. Like, because I mean, hard work does only take you so far. Like, I don't care how hard you train, whatever. Like, some people are just never going to run a 2:16 marathon.
No.
Because it's just crazy. It's like so elite. It's like, just like not everybody's going to be Joanna. Like, they're not going to run ran 54 minutes the other day. Like, you can train, you can dedicate your life, you can do all these things, but there's a level that, and everybody's going to have a ceiling, and that's fine. Like, I think focusing on other people's like achievements or whatever is just ultimately going to leave you like really flat and unsatisfied. Because if I measured myself to like Joanna's standards, I'd never be successful.
Yeah, same. Yeah, because it's obvious she's not that long in there, and I think she has no. I'm not sure. I think she has no running background, so she has just the body and the talent, really, and the proportions of her body are amazing. Like, she has so long legs, right? That brings already also like a little bit. If you have like short legs, it does difference on the proportion of your body to your full height and so on. So some just have the talent there, but still they have to do the work, obviously. But like you say, to prepare to just compare yourself with, like, if I compare myself to Joanna, I will never race again because this would be depressing, right?
And Joanna's like, I think that she's so young, and like you see, like, no, she doesn't come from a running background. Like, last year, she ran a 2:53 marathon.
It's crazy.
I don't know what kind of training she was doing for that. I can't imagine like she put together a specific block completely for the marathon because she was training for Hyrox. But she has a lot of talent that I think has not even like come to its full capability. Yeah, like she's still getting better. And you see a lot of young people coming in the sport now that are like all under 25, and as the sport like develops, it'll be kind of interesting to see, because you have her and Lauren like right next to each other. They're obviously like completely different build, because I think on some of the stations, like, being short is not a disadvantage, like burpees.
Yeah, it is mixed. It is mixed.
So there's a good leveling ground, to like, you're advantaged in one station but not the other. And I mean, so I think it's kind of cool to see like different people with different kind of looks actually, like, all be successful, but run the race completely different. Like, if you look at the run times from like Lucy Proctor to like Emily Dahman, who, I mean, they ran a very similar time. I think that they were like, 30 seconds apart or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like Lucy like crushes the stations, and obviously she crushes the run too, but like proportionately, like she's better at the stations. And then you have Emily, who's like crushing the run, and maybe she struggles a little bit. Not much, obviously, not struggling. That's not the correct word. But like proportionally, their races are run like very differently, with the same outcome.
Yeah, you had the same until 2 years ago with Miriam. Miriam is very short person, but and so running, she was not bad in running. She was still like world better than me in running, and but she was so fast in the station, then like faster than anyone else in the stations. And so that it still kind of works, but you still have to have already a very high level of running still. But if you're not the best in running and you're the best in station, it still kind of can equal.
Well, Miriam, I mean, she ran a 62 flat.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she lunges like 220. So I would always, when I was running against her, I knew that I needed like at least a minute and a half going into the lunges.
Before the lunges, yeah.
She would put a minute and a half on me basically at the lunges, and then forget it, wall balls, like she does them in like 3 minutes. So, but now I do think the sport's changing a little bit. Like I don't think you can like you won't see as many people as Miriam, because you need to be like pretty proficient. People are getting so much faster. The sleds are arguably not as heavy. Like I think they move a lot faster unless you just get a bad one. So some of that stuff is like the strength is not as big of an issue as it used to be. And nothing is actually that heavy. So you need to be a runner who can move weight a little bit versus
sure.
And because I mean those girls now are running like sub 6 minute pace, and then still able to like crush the stations. I talked about Emily. I mean, she still crushes lunges, and she is like tiny. So
and also very short in the sport, right?
Yeah, her, Lucy, Joanna, they're like the new wave of the
young stars.
The young
but not the young stars like they call it.
But you'll see like the old guard, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Like Lauren Weeks has obviously been at the top for a long time, and she crushes it. But like who's stayed and who's like rose to the competition versus who's like kind of like got run out because they're just not able to keep up with the pace of like the sport. I mean, 2 years ago the world record was like 103:40 something, and now the record is 54 minutes. Like or maybe it might have been 3 years ago, but I mean, in almost like 3 years, like 9 minutes has came off the world record.
Especially since 2023. I mean, 2023, even I was I was getting the invite for the US championship in February in Chicago back then, and I just had like a 69 minute, right? And so that brought you already in 25th position back then, and that's 3 years. And now in this 3 years, like with that time, you like worlds apart from elite, right? So it's crazy. The last 3 years is really extreme. Yeah.
But breaking 70 used to be. I remember when I broke 70 for the first time. I was only the fifth American to do so, and you were like breaking 70 put you up there. I mean, 2022, Chris won with 67, like won a world championship. So like it's just crazy to see. I mean, men and women, how much the sport has grown in just like a short amount of time. And the people who are, like quitting their jobs and doing this full time and making a career. It's definitely going to be like the shift point, I feel like, for the sport, where you're going to see a lot of people drop off because they're not able to it's a lot different when you're able to do this full time versus like having a job. So it'll be interesting to see like who can still hang on, who has, because I know like Linda has a full-time job.
Yeah.
I think Viola has a full-time job. Like a lot of these people haven't quit, and I mean, not ironically, probably why, like the same reason I wouldn't quit my job. I'm old. Like I know that I don't have many years left in the sport to try to be elite, but I also have a profession. So like to drop out your profession to like chase something for a year or 2 years or whatever, at this point in your life feels a little irresponsible, versus if you're like 19 or 20, like you haven't started to yet, you don't have a lot of like life costs or responsibilities or kids, all these things that like a lot of people in their 30s have, that they can't like just quit their job and like hope that they get picked up by a sponsor, win some races, and be able to cover all their expenses, because now your expenses are just more. It's just natural that when you get like you have more things that you have to pay for, and I think maybe a little bit easier in Europe. I don't know. It's very expensive to live in the U.S. Well, I don't know where you are, but like some places in Europe, like Spain, very cheap to live in Spain.
Yeah, like, some countries, yeah. But if you ask like about mine, like mine is one of the most expensive countries in Europe. And to fly somewhere from here, like the flights are 10 times more than if you fly from Spain to somewhere. Like it's just like I can't take a flight to Spain usually below 300 euro, and then it's a very cheap one, right? So it is really, and if you fly, for example, from Germany to Spain, you pay probably 150, right? So it's really, it depends on the country, yeah.
So yeah, it does get into like when with the new point system and stuff, like how much you're willing to like invest in it, because nothing is close enough to me, in my opinion, close enough to drive. I'd say the closest race venue for me would be like a 7 to 8 hour drive, which I think is like way too far. I'm not going to drive that far. So everything is a plane ride. So anytime I hop on a plane, a cheap plane's 300, and if I go like across the country, it could be $700-800. Like,
exactly.
And then hotel rooms are like $200-300 a night. Like, so it all adds up very quickly. Especially like in the last like year or so, you know, the U.S. economy is not doing so hot. So everything like exponential. 3 years ago, I might be able to go somewhere and get a hotel for like, you know, $100 a night. Versus now, like if you go to New York City, like you can't stay anywhere like safe for like less than 50. Like, I mean, I guess you go like stay somewhere where you might get like stabbed, but or shot. But so it's definitely just also like a big financial investment if you're trying to like get into the Elite 15 and work and you don't have sponsors. And like a big part of sponsorship, obviously you probably know, is like it's a lot of posting, and it's also a lot of work. So if you're like working a full-time job and you're doing all these things, and then like you're trying to get sponsors, but then you don't really have like all the time to like commit to that social media piece, it all feels like very overwhelming. And then you're trying to also do your training on top of that. So it's like, it's tough.
Actually, I want to come to this at the end of it, but now we touch it, so we just finish it. So that would have been a question of mine, because you have to do those for the single. You have to do those 5 races at least, and then you would need to perform at those 5 races each time, right? Which is also not that easy. And in best case, you win, that you have enough points.
And depends on there.
Yeah, exactly. If, for example, if I would take myself now in a position I want to do this, I have 2 to 3 German races I can drive by car. They are not too like they are like 3-4 hours, which is okay. I can do that. But then for all the rest, I would also need to fly, right? And like you said, like that's so much money you put in, and then if you have a bad day, right? If you fly somewhere and something was off, all delayed, you were stressed, you were not getting your food, whatever, you don't perform, that race, that money is quite wasted because you probably got just fifth and it's not enough points at the end, or probably non-points if it's too far from the top and whatever. And then you race a sixth, a seventh time, which is a lot for the body again. Like it's really a lot. Like I mean, I'm not in a position for that, but I just think through it, and I think if you're not yet in the elite, if you haven't been in, like people now say, if you're in the elite, like elite people post a lot, it's so easy to get in this sport now, sponsors and so on. But you have to be already in the elite to get the sponsors. If you're not yet there, if you haven't been in any of the major races, the sponsors they are not interested in you, especially if you're not influencing like every day 5 stories, talking to the camera, whatever they want. I don't think it's that easy to get sponsors, like to make enough money to do those travelings.
No, unless you're in the top.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the top, like that's what I think makes it hard is like, so I was planning, I don't know if I'm going to still do this because I think I'm going to focus more on doubles, but like I was planning to go to a lot of South American races because the competition is not as tough.
Yeah.
Obviously it's very expensive to fly to South America. Like there's like a give and take with Europe. I think like the system now is like, is not great if you're in Europe, like really lucky, but you have a lot of opportunities to race.
Yeah, true. But you have some. If I, for example, those 3 races are close to me, I know the most elite women are starting there from Germany, so I would never have a chance, right, to take the first position versus them.
Well, yeah,
you know?
like so, but I feel like if you take like the Tanya lady, Tanya Shush, I don't know, she's awesome.
Strohschneider, yeah.
So like she races a lot, like a whole lot.
Yeah.
And she is, you know, she'll be in the Elite 15 because she has like enough wins or whatever. And you know, she's elite, like she's really good. But like if she only raced like in Europe, like I think there's definitely a chance she wouldn't have been in the Elite 15 because competition is so high that it's like there's a chance that you go, and if you're not running like a 59, you're probably not first. So
yeah,
you might have like
she took the system like it is. Go if you have the possibility to take on that much money to go to Asia and race all those races like she did, and take all the wins, like still you have to perform, and still the conditions are not like, sometimes it's very hot there where she raced recently and so on. So obviously the time is not 60 minutes or something. But yeah, you know, if she would have done all those races in Germany, in France, in whatever, she would not have all the 105 points in each race. Yeah, 100%.
She's like a good 61, 62 runner, which is like really great. But like to win a race now in Europe, like you're not winning with a 62 unless like there was a race in the Netherlands. I don't remember, Rotterdam. I don't know, somewhere in the Netherlands this weekend.
Yeah, Rotterdam.
63 or 64 won it. But
was exception.
It's only because Warsaw was this weekend.
So, and Cologne, like the Germans go usually to Cologne, yeah.
Yeah, so like I mean, you might get lucky in a race like that where it's like, but you're not going to get lucky 5 times.
No.
So like, and in the US, like there's still like enough people that you're probably going to go. I mean, we still have like Rachel Wade, who's like, you know, always pushing an hour, that new Alyssa girl who's, you know, so it's not a walk in the park to go to like a US race either. And there's so few of them. And they're so spread out. So everybody's going to the same races because they need 5 races. And there's probably only like, you know, maybe like 10 or 12 US races total. So everybody's going to the same races. Whereas Europe, you know, you have a lot of opportunities to race, but there's also more people who are running really fast times.
Yeah.
But again, you can go to South America, but it's really expensive. Like I'm going to Buenos Aires, I think, in June, because I know that like World Championships is like it's either the weekend before or the same weekend or something like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm like, nobody's going to be there. So I'm like, okay, there's hopefully 105 points.
Yeah.
Monterey was this weekend. I was considering doing that race, but I didn't go, obviously. But, I mean, there's races in like Sao Paulo that 114 takes first.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
You know, like,
it's already you saw it so much in the regionals this year, right? With the elite times that was like so different. Like in Europe, the times were like a normal major race to enter in the regional elite. In US, it was a little bit slower, but then in APEC, it was a lot slower because also they have not that many races and so on. But you saw already due to that, like how it is still in those countries, how the chances are better to enter because the concurrence is a little bit less, right?
Yeah. But I mean, the old system wasn't great either. So I don't know.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely not.
But I feel like there were more like races. See, I feel like the old system really favored Europe. Like, most of the races in Europe were like, I wouldn't say they're all fast, but there were definitely like ones that you could go to and you're like, okay, those are fast.
Yeah, like Berlin and Warsaw. If you did those two
London,
last year,
London fast, like outside. So like, and then if you're close and you know those races are fast, you can go to those races. But like, there's not a single fast race that I've seen in the US that's like maybe like slightly fast or fair. There's plenty of like fair races in the US, but nothing like London. Like
not like 2-3 minutes.
None of those type of races. And we have several races they've had where like I went to Cancun, it's outside. It's like New York is outside, which last year it was fast, and this year or the year before it was slow because it was like again 85 degrees. Mm-hmm. So you're playing with like an outdoor course, like you don't know like what you're gonna get. So it's just like I think the new system is like moving in the right direction. But I obviously think there's still like issues with it, and like I think as the sport grows, it could be more fair. Like, as the markets in like South America and Australia, I mean, you're already seeing the Australian market develop a lot more. Then it'll be more fair because it's like, I mean, nobody that got in from APAC didn't deserve to be at the World Championships. Like, these are people that are running. I mean, Calypso like crushed it. Like like these are people. They're not like winning APAC with like a 105. Mm-hmm. So it's like the competition might be like not as like broad, but it's still like there's still a few people in those regions that if they're there, they like crush it, and they're definitely
100%
on the elite level. It's just that there's a few of them, so the likelihood that they'll be at every race is very small, and there's more opportunities. But still, those people that are in, I mean, not saying anything negative about them, because that's myself included, like in that 63, 64, 65 range, they might be able to win one of the Asian races, but they're probably not going to win 5 of them. Like, there's probably going to be like people that are like at least one person that's going to come and they're going to like run a really fast time. But the problem is in Europe, that you're going to be like, I went to Stockholm and I had a terrible race. I still ran a 65, but I got no points because I was like 13th.
And the long travel plays in, right? Like I mean, for me, it's not easy to travel over to USA. I did it twice now, but the second time I also did it like that. I would arrive way earlier than the year before, because the year before it was really already hard on my body to get through those different time zones. And so if you would take it like on the greatest possibility, you would need to fly over a week before or something, which you can't do with a job. And so it's not a guarantee to perform if you just arrive a day or two prior a race on the other side of the world or whatever.
Thanks for listening so far for this episode. We had to split this in 2 parts, so if you still have time left, jump on part number 2 of this. We have still more topics, like said in the introduction, we spoke about, but we just didn't want it to have too long for you. So if you have no time anymore, listen for the next time on the second part. Thanks. We hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to be part of the next show or hear about a specific topic, just let us know on Instagram at @BeYourOwnMotivation or via email team.yourmotivation@gmail.com. This is again team.yourmotivation@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for listening, and on to the next one.